This whole episode is an absolute plot twist on my entire brand, so let's get into it. Welcome to the Get Unbusy podcast. I'm your host, Kate Philpott, and this podcast is all about throwing your busy work out the window. You deserve to stay locked in on the parts of your business that light a fire under your hoo-ha, all right? The passion-driven freedom lifestyle, not being glued to your laptop every waking minute of the day. It's time to build a business that works for you, not one that works you into the ground. So, let's get unbusy, shall we? Welcome back to the Get Unbusy podcast. My name's Kate Philpott. I am your host, and I'm about to throw everything I've ever known off the Spanish balcony. Okay, so you may have noticed from the title of this podcast episode that I am trialing out an experiment right now where I'm not calendarizing anything for 30 days. And this is completely absurd for me because I am someone who is type A, Virgo, Sun, Capricorn, Moon, productivity coach. Like everything about me and my personality is very controlled. What's happening now? What's next? After that, what do I do then? And then like everything is planned out ahead of time. And the reason this experiment is coming up, and I'll explain more about how I'm approaching this and why I'm approaching this, but because I feel like this is so fascinating, the way this perfect storm happened in order for this experiment to come about. And you'll see what I mean in just a minute. So why did this even start? Let me talk you through the perfect storm. And I'm going to give the quick version. So if you want the full version on another day, please DM me on Instagram at MoreToLifeKate. And, I'll talk about the full version because there is more to this story. But first things first, you would have heard me talk a few podcast episodes ago about the 8-week aggressive cut I was doing. It was technically a 10-week cut, but I had reached my goal weight 2 weeks before the end of the program. So I used the final 2 weeks to kind of reverse diet back up to maintenance calories. In the 8 weeks, I lost 10 pounds. I got super lean and I fucked up my relationship with food. Yes, I'm going to admit it. Okay, I did. I just became completely obsessed with food. Like I was thinking about it constantly because here's the thing. That was an aggressive deficit. It got me the results. Your girl was looking pretty damn lean, feeling pretty damn good, finally fitting in her clothes again. But the way I explain being on a deficit that's that intense is you don't have enough calories for any meal to satisfy you, which is kind of all right at the beginning when like you're still full from like meals last week. That sounds silly, but I just mean like the deeper you get into it, the hungrier you are because the longer it's been since you've been fully satisfied. And basically the way I explain it is I was getting to the end of every single meal and just not satisfied. So it's like, say you sat down, you're so hungry for your dinner, it's been hours since you've eaten. And even the last time you ate, you weren't satisfied at the end of it, but you're like, oh my God, finally. And you've got this beautiful 2 turkey burgers, and there's rice on the side, and there's broccoli, and there's bell peppers, and there's mashed turnip, and there's mushrooms, and everything is like, oh my God, every single bite tastes like the best bite of food you've ever had in your life. And you get 3 bites in and someone takes it away. That's what it felt like for weeks. And yes, I spoke about this whole diet situation in a very different way in previous podcast episodes. So if you listen to those, this might come as a surprise. Okay? It's not like I had no struggles. I had struggles. And I am very proud of the grit and the discipline and the just fucking willpower that I had, or it wasn't even willpower, just the ability to lock in. I am really proud of, and I don't regret that for a minute. However, going so hard did get me to a point where I got so obsessed with food. I was just thinking about it all the time. Finish my breakfast, when am I having my next snack? Finish that snack, oh my God, I can't wait for lunch. Finish lunch, oh my God, when is my next snack? When is dinner? 8-week aggressive cut, lost 10 pounds. Fucked up my relationship with food. Then Stephanie Buttermore died. When she was regularly posting on YouTube, I was just lapping up her content because I'm a bit of a science nerd myself. I loved her content that was like the science of a refeed and like what is actually happening when you do a mini cut and like all of this stuff. And she would go into the science of it. And she treated her cheat days as like a little mini science experiment, like checking her blood sugars, checking her blood pressure, checking her weight, and just like all this stuff. Because she passed away, I wanted to go and binge all her content again. So I started right from the beginning of her channel. And in her earlier videos, she had done a lot of cheat day videos. Now, we're in the same kind of timeline as me towards the end of my aggressive cut. So I was watching these cheat day videos and became even more obsessed with food because she was also she had this extreme hunger. I never had extreme hunger just like biologically, but when you're on an aggressive cut, it's basically the same kind of situation. It's like you could eat and eat and eat and you're never going to get full. And like the same kind of thing. I was never getting full. So because I was watching her content, watching cheat day videos, I started romanticizing foods like donuts, cookies, chocolate, pizza, honestly, anything, even more than I already was because I'd been restricting so hard. Then I realized that this was becoming a little problematic. I did have, I'm gonna say a mini binge, but honestly, I don't like, it was like a couple of chocolate bars. It genuinely was not that bad. And if you look up the term, like what actually classifies as a binge, I'm sure this is nothing compared to that. But I did kind of black out and just like eat a bunch of chocolate bars. Like fully was not in control of myself. Because of that, I was like, fuck, what am I doing? Like I'm getting so obsessed with food. Like you only binge because you over restrict. So like what is going on here? And I looked up the YouTube title on YouTube, watch this after you've binged, right? So then I stumbled upon this other YouTuber, Heal with Kaylin. She's a sweet angel as well. Her content is all about like eating disorder recovery, intuitive eating, like that kind of thing. So I started binging her content and like relationship with food content. And I was taking on her advice and it was very helpful. I was just kind of balancing out my hormones after the aggressive cut and just being like, oh, you know what? Actually, there was nothing wrong with me before the cut. You know, like there was nothing wrong with me. Maybe my next goal is around having a better relationship with food. Maybe the perfect quote unquote for me is being able to tune into what my body wants and eat when I'm hungry and stop when I'm full and, you know, listen to what my body actually wants to eat. Anyway, that got me to the next stage where I realized I was so fucking sick of trying to control my relationship with food, whether that was restricting, whether that was fully allowing everything and anything, or forgiving myself for overeating or whatever. I was like, all I want is just to not be obsessed with food and my relationship with it and how much I eat or don't eat and how I look or whatever. Point being, what was going on with my relationship with food directly mirrored what's been going on with my relationship with everything, with how I work, with how I live, with how I eat, with how I exercise, everything. Everything in my life had this vice-like grip control. And it just was so perfectly mirrored to the intuitively eating thing. Because when I realized that, wait, what if I just eat what I want when I want and stop when I'm full and all of this, that kind of made me go, this is very similar to how I'm functioning or not functioning in my life, in the day-to-day. So I'll give you an example. So I might wake up I would, I was in my routine. I would wake up, go for my hour walk, come back, shower, grab coffee, and then do the first block of whatever was in my calendar. So it was in the morning, it's usually study hour or it's mindset hour. Now, it might be a study day according to the calendar, but I might feel called to do some journaling. But because the calendar said study, I would study. And vice versa. It might say mindset work in the calendar, but I really want to go and dive into that course that I just got from my mentor. And I was just ignoring my intuitive nudges because of what the calendar said. And it's like, this is the thing. What I want to do with my free time is typically just like hermit mode productivity. So like, I want to play around with a CRM. I want to play around with AI. I want to record a podcast. I want to prep for my next summit. I want to do those things. Okay, bringing it back to the restriction thing, when you restrict your food, that's like pulling an elastic band back, right? You pull, you pull, you pull. The further you pull, the more likely you are to shoot forward. Shoot forward meaning the binge, right? Similarly with my work life, the more vice-like grip I had over my calendar and it's pulling and pulling and pulling that elastic band, and the more control I felt I needed to have, the more likely I am to shoot back. And when I give myself space for it to be a lot more rest focused, a lot more just anything not work focus. And I think I was a little bit afraid of that, to be honest. Maybe I'm still a little afraid of it. What can I say? I'm still a Virgo, so but I think the thing was, I realized when I take control away, I don't know who the fuck I am. I was like, who the fuck am I if I'm not tracking my steps, tracking my calories, tracking my social media analytics, following the calendar every step of the way, like every minute of the day being planned out ahead of time. If I don't have that sense of control, like, who am I? Because it's so intertwined with my career, how I approach my health and fitness, like everything, my finances, like everything. It's so planned out. And I love planning and I love having a plan. But I did get to a point where I was like, I don't know if this way is the right way. And because this whole revelation happened about a week or less before coming to Spain for a month, I was like, you know what? This is perfect fucking timing. So this is, again, all part of the perfect storm, because I was like, hey, who am I without control? And then it's like, okay, well, just go to Spain for a month. I was going to be gone for a month anyway. And just live intuitively. Yes, it took me that long to get to the entire point of this podcast episode. I thank you and I salute you for sticking with me. Okay. So here's the thing. I decided I am going to go in. This is my strategy going into this. I was like, I'm going to just do whatever the fuck I want to do. So complex for a type A person to go through. What? I'm kind of proud of myself for being able to do this. Anyway, I'm like almost 2 weeks in now, but there will be probably a whole other podcast episode with the full insights, but you're getting me like real time experience in it right now. And I feel like I've only just started in a way. But anyway, my strategy going in was I want to do whatever the fuck I want to do. The only thing that I have to do at the specific times are my calls, of course, because like I have, 15 one-to-one client calls a week. So like, I got to show up to those at the right time. I was saying like that, those are the only things that I'm allowed to put it in my calendar to do it at that time. Everything else is intuition led. So now I am waking up, and I mean, I love going for exercise first thing in the morning anyway. I know that for a fact. That makes me feel good for the rest of the day. But I'm going to wake up and I'm going, do I feel like going for a run today? Or do I feel like going for a walk? Or do I feel like doing a little home resistance workout? I brought booty bands to Spain with me, so, Not that I motherfucking need them, because we live apparently at the top of this ridiculous hill in Spain. We found the most aggressive hill to live on top of, apparently. So I'm up and down that like 3 or 4 times a day. So this butt is getting thick anyway. But any given moment, I'm like, what do I want to work on? Oh, like yesterday, I really felt like just going ham on the summit. So I was pitching a load of potential speakers that I would love to have in the summit. And that's something that a lot of the time I have a lot of resistance to. It just feels like scary and stuff. But it didn't feel like that yesterday. I was like, I'm so excited to get this thing moving. Let's fucking go. Started like reaching out to all these people to hopefully speak at the summit in July. And that's exactly it. It could have been in my calendar, summit work, pitch speakers, and I could go, ugh. Or I could just do it tomorrow when the desire actually hits me and I see it and I'm like, well, I wouldn't see it because it's not in the calendar, but I know it's something I need to do and I'm like, ooh, yeah, let's do it. Totally different. I could have record podcast episode in my calendar and I could go, I don't really have much to say. I don't know. I'm not in a chatty mood today. Or I could just allow it to happen when the desire hits me, when my intuition goes, it's time to record a podcast episode. In fact, the podcast episode I'm recording right now, I just recorded one right beforehand. So I'm like, apparently right now is a podcast episode time. Do you see what I'm saying? So this, for me, as someone who usually is very like every minute of the day from, 6 a.m. to 6 or 7 p.m. is planned out. It's really weird for me to not have anything other than my calls in the calendar. And like today, for example, it's a no call day. So I didn't have anything in the calendar. Nothing. It's just like completely empty. And like, that is so weird. That is so weird. Maybe for a lot of people, that's just like normally how they function. I simply could not. Now, next piece I'm going to share with you is the insights so far, because I do have insights so far. First insight is it gives me the ick right now. Okay, let me explain. Time goes way quicker when you don't plan it out, I find. And I have noticed so many of the days, the day is just slipping away on me so fast. Now, yes, part of that in the first 5 or 6 days here was the fact that my partner wasn't working. I mean, he's working remotely while we're here, but he had like 5 days off. So, he wasn't working, so I wasn't really working, and we were both just not really working, and we were staying up late, and then we were staying in bed. Like, the sunrise is also a bit later here than it is in Ireland, so sunrise it doesn't get bright until like almost 8 a.m. And for me as a 5 a.m. girlie, I'm like, I don't know this area well enough to go out for a walk in the pitch black at 5 a.m. So, safety and all that. So I just was like, well, there's no point in getting up at that time. So I do not enjoy how fast the days are disappearing on me, because I feel like I have breakfast and then suddenly it's 1 p.m. and I'm like, what the fuck happened? Like, what the actual fuck is happening here? Like, where did those hours go? Because usually as a 5 a.m. girly, 1 p.m., like my work day is almost over in terms of what I have completed. But now running it like this and getting up a little bit later, I get to 1 p.m. and I'm like, Jesus, I better get something fucking done. And I am working, but it's just so lax. I don't know. There's just like, I have no sense of urgency, which is so weird for me. There's usually quite an intense sense of urgency. And, maybe this is all going to bite me. I don't know. But this is the thing. It's an experiment. Maybe it's going to bite me in the ass, or maybe I will see that it doesn't bite me in the ass and I realize, oh, actually everything was totally fine. We'll see. That is yet to reveal itself. I will also say, on the flip side, it is amazing to have that breath of fresh air, to not constantly feel behind. I think when I calendarize my entire day, yes, I have worked and improved this process and refined my ability to do this over time. But whenever I do it, I still put in more than I realistically can do in a day. And I hate to say that out loud, because this is something I tell people not to do. But I tell you now, I put about half in of what I used to put in, and yet I'm still a little, what's the word, optimistic about how much I can get done in a certain amount of time. You know, like by the time you do your makeup, and by the time you sit down and you wash the dishes, and like we don't have a dishwasher here, which is a bit of a shock to the system. But by the time you wash the dishes and put the dishes away, and then, oh, I have to put the washing out. Oh, and I have to take it. Oh, we don't have a dryer, so it's going out on the balcony to dry it, whatever. Anyway, it just feels like time is dwindling away. It's nice to not be panicking over the time dwindling away, but I do get to the middle of the day and I'm like, Jesus, I better fucking give myself a kick up the ass. Now, I have a sneaking suspicion that I'm going to end up somewhere in the middle when it comes to the right way to do it. I already have provided to my actually Work Smart Academy members the flexi calendar approach, which is essentially half structure, half flexibility. I may have even spoken about that on the podcast. I vaguely remember talking about it. But based on this experiment, I think that's still where I'll end up. It's like, oh, we have like these 4 structured hours, and the rest, you do you, boo. You do you. But I think productivity now is kind of shifting in terms of its definition. I think it's more about your relationship with time, rather than being really aggressive with your time and trying to control the ever-living bejesus out of it. I've still gone back to Pomodoros during the workday because it feels good, because I know that if I decide like I'm getting this thing done in the next 25 minutes and I've got a timer on the screen and I've got some absolute instrumental bops playing in the background, I know I'm going to get more done than if I just sit down and like work indefinitely. But this whole thing anyway, it's just given me a chance to tune inwards, listen to what my mind and body actually wants. And I think in a way, it's kind of a spiritual practice too. I think this is going to strengthen my intuition to the point where my yeses become more hell yeses, my no's become more hell no's. And the ideas that come up for me become better ideas. I just have a sense that that's going to be the way, because I mean, I am also a bit of a spirituality girly, manifestation. I listen to those podcasts too. Even though I'm a productivity strategist and a control freak, I listen to those. And yet, I've been given more power to my calendar because of a certain headspace that I was in when I put that calendar together than I have been given power to my intuition on any given day. I don't know. I think there's something in that. So I'm very excited to see how this all pans out and where I end up in terms of my opinions on this. Because right now, as I said, it's giving me the ick that the days are just disappearing so fast. But I think there's still more for me to learn here. And I think it's very exciting. So stay tuned for how this is all where this is all gonna end up. I'm excited to share it. In the meantime, go binge a whole other bunch of podcast episodes. Why not? You already made it to the end of this one. And I'm sure you enjoyed it since you didn't click off by now. So thank you for listening. I will see you in the next one, and take care. And go listen to your intuition today. What do you actually want to do? And is it what your calendar says to do? Is it the have to? Or is it something that actually you truly want on a deep emotional, intuitive, spiritual level? Love this for you. All right, bye. All right, gorgeous. That's a wrap on today's episode of the Get Unbusy podcast. If you got some juicy golden nuggets from this episode, I want to hear about it. So take a screenshot, share it on your Instagram stories, and tag me at More to Life Kate, because your girl wants to know. And remember, you're an absolute powerhouse. You can create the life you've been dreaming of, and I can't wait to see you pop off. Chat to you soon. Bye.